good afternoon and welcome to Bernama. Today you're with me, Tamina Kauchi, and Fabian Nassis in the studios.
Right. It is the 18th of February,
yes.
2019. Now, today we have a very interesting show, Tamina.
Yes,
We've got two really interesting guests coming in. Arun, who is a lawyer. He'll be talking about Justice Hamid Sultan's affidavit.
Exactly. So this case is basically, it broke about 4 days ago, Fabian,
right.
and you know what it's done? It sends shockwaves not just through the country, but through the world. But we'll find out why exactly. And Arun will be in the house with us to help explain all the legal jargon and make it a little bit more basic.
Easier for us to digest as well.
Right, that's
and
right.
The other one is we have a Safe City app and VAWG Malaysia. They're coming in to talk a little bit about women, right? Sexual abuse and all. How to make cities safe.
Exactly.
Correct?
So
Something
this is
that's very close to your heart.
Very close to my heart. Not just as a woman, but I think we as Malaysians also ought to be looking forward to having a much safer, not just Kuala Lumpur, but any other major urban centers as well. So this app helps us to streamline all of that and hopefully making Kuala Lumpur at least first and foremost the safest city.
Fantastic. Tomorrow is Chap Gourmet, so it's the Chinese version of Valentine's Day.
That's
I know
right.
14th of February you did celebrate it, but it's also a time where young Chinese girls go to lakes like, the Petaling Jaya Lake, take an orange, write their name and their numbers,
and throw it over the bridge,
exactly.
right?
But
oh my gosh. So does it work? I mean, I've never tried it personally before, despite being half Chinese myself.
I've seen a guy, he was on a sampan, and started collecting all the oranges. Whether he really calls them or not, I don't know.
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
I've seen it being done, right? But the question I think here is, does it actually work? These old myths, and then now we're in the digital age where you have Tinder.
So what you do is, you just send a couple of orange emojis lah. Whoever you're interested in. So that will be a different take
on it, right?
Yeah.
So
nonetheless, Chap Gourmet is tomorrow.
Right.
So, but also we're moving into a couple of the bigger news stories. This was something that was continuing on from last week. Detained Malaysians are home, safe and sound.
Great. So if you're applying for a job overseas, always double check on who is the people employing you. Now we know, both of us, that the salary offered by people outside are a little bit more expensive than the ones that you get here in Malaysia.
Exactly.
Look at what they offer, $1,000 to $1,500 US. I know it's more than accountant's salary here.
Exactly, which might actually explain why a lot of young Malaysians, even those who may be qualified with university degrees and otherwise, are actually choosing to go overseas and actually work in hard labor or blue-collar jobs.
Blue-collar jobs.
Exactly.
Picking apples in New Zealand.
That's right.
And also,
it's about the exchange rate, right?
Exchange rate. And also, I think it also gives them a chance to live abroad a little bit and then come back and see how things goes. But anyway, our message to you is just be careful when you're picking a job overseas, or always be aware and wary of yourself, like your safe app, basically.
Basically, right. Now moving into coolest ice skater, 3 bags, 3 gold medals in UAE. Wow, so congratulations to ice skating phenom C3 Abirami, who clinched not 1, but 3 gold medals at the Middle East 4th official ISI International Figure Skating Tournament, which happened in Abu Dhabi, UAE on Thursday and Friday. Little champion there.
This girl is only 7 years old, so can you imagine what she can do when she's elder? Now, moving on, the next one, we have Kepung MP offers 10,000 ringgit bounty to find the robber that assaulted a woman at MRT station in Cheras.
My gosh, I mean, it is also so timely that we're having the Safe City app interview later on in the show, so please do stay tuned for that, because this is bringing into broad focus just how dangerous it can actually be for Malaysian women. We're playing you the video. We do warn you that it is violent.
This guy has no heart, nothing at all. I saw that punch. It's really painful.
It doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. I was just shocked. I mean, I had it shared and reshared via friends, women, of course, and everybody is just devastated. But that also tells you, in general, Faith, the ratio is out of every 10 cases of violence which happen against women, only 1 is reported. This one happened to be caught on camera, but we will be talking about not just legislation, but also what can be done to change the mentality of men towards women as well.
Look, I think the police also has came up with a great solution, because they have came up with a snatch theft team. So the snatch theft team, we need more details about this, And coming from the city police chief, Dato Sri Mazdan Nazim, he informed that as early as this month, 200 policemen were recruited for snatch theft team in Kuala Lumpur. Now the question the question I want to pose is that how are these police people or these police personnel
selected?
No. Selected is one thing. How are they going to do it?
Right. How are they actually going to be effective and impactful?
Yes.
Right.
I understand and I see.
Any ideas?
No, I don't. Exactly. That's why I thought, it would be great to get the police chief, Dato Sri Mazlan himself, to come in and tell us a little bit about it. But what I know about Kuala Lumpur is that they're doing CCTVs everywhere. If you go to KLCC area, every corner that you're walking, there is a CCTV somewhere. So the thing here is, I think it's great to have a visual recognition. The question is the implementation part. With these 200 policemen, what are they doing, or what can they do?
Yes, because monitoring in real time is, of course, quite different from capturing things on CCTV.
Yes.
And that, again, will bring up the bigger question of what about areas where you do not have CCTV? So do those become literally no-go zones within our own city?
Agree with you.
For foot traffic?
Which is why I think having the city police come in would be a really good thing, right?
That's right. So moving in from there into, of course, the Semenyih by-elections, and these will be happening in the upcoming weeks. 4 running in Semenyih. Now it's going to be a 4-cornered fight between Pakatan Harapan, Barisan Nasional, Parti Sosialis Malaysia, and 1 independent runner.
So I think everybody knows the candidates, but what I want to speak about right here, right now, is there is the PSM candidate, 25 years old guy, has already declared his asset. It was about 15,000 ringgit. No
surprise coming from PSM as well,
right.
So also setting the tone.
Yes, which is what I want to say right here, because I think they also accepted a debate with the others. That's right. On the Semenyih by-election, right? So we're looking forward for that. Early voting, February 26th, and voting is on the 2nd of March. I think it's a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. So, of course, the Malaysian Community Policing Association President, Kwan Chi Heng, also known as Uncle Kentang, he's actually going to be the 1 independent candidate. So on that quick note, we take a commercial break. We'll be back right after. Do stay tuned.
Listen to views of industry captains. Analyze and examine trends and projections. Gain market insights from subject matter experts. Biz Talk every Friday, only on the NC.
Welcome back to Bernama today. Thanks for keeping it logged on to us. And now, come back with the interview that was promised earlier.
And the interesting one.
Yes. I think all our interviews are interesting. But this one, of course, we are, keying into a topic that has gone viral over social media, and this time it's something to do with legalese. So we welcome on that note, Arun, lawyer, arbitrator, adjudicator. How are you today, sir?
I'm excellent. How are you?
All right, we're very well.
Thank you very much, first of all, to take your time to come here and tell us a little bit about, I think clear the air a little bit about this, right? Now, just to give you a backstory, if you're wondering what we're talking about, Justice Hamid Sultan's affidavit, what he did was he actually said that there are certain things that needs to be reviewed or rechecked at the judicial point of view or judicial crisis in Malaysia. And that's why we have Arun over here to help us shed some light, or in simple terms, can you tell us a little bit about what this affidavit is all about?
Okay. Recently, there was an action filed by Sangeet, the daughter of Kapal Singh, against the CJ. There was quite an unprecedented action where CJ or Chief Justice was sued. Okay. In that case, Sangeet requested Justice Hamid Sultan to give an affidavit of the facts that he has within his knowledge. Following that, Justice Hamid Sultan on the 14th of this month, that is 4 days ago, filed a lengthy affidavit in 65 pages, setting out various details of the alleged irregularities in judiciary. And it so happened that affidavit went viral. In fact, I see almost every Malaysian has it in his WhatsApp. In fact, it has gone beyond Malaysia. I think it has reached nearly the world. And that was quite an unprecedented incident whereby a sitting judge affirms an affidavit to tell the irregularities in the judiciary. I think that will make a whole history.
Right, but of course we're not aiming for the Malaysia Book of Records here. What it actually speaks to is a deeper rot within the system, perhaps. But first and foremost, let's talk also about Justice Hamid Sultan's recent public comment, whereby he said that senior judges, quote unquote, have not been promoted to the federal court. He was, of course, speaking about himself, as he was recently passed over. So could this actually be contextually seen something that is perfectly timed?
Well, if I'm right, Justice Hamid Sultan did not actually say that he was not promoted, but I think many took up the issue because
it was a public comment on the record.
It was a public comment. In fact, I too have commented on media on that. So I felt that he had nothing to do with that. But that was a glaring fact. It so happened that despite he had all the seniority and all the qualifications, he was not given the elevation. In fact, he was a top qualified judge in the judiciary, holding a PhD, and he has authored more than 10 books and numerous articles. He is an adjunct professor in many universities locally and abroad. These are rare qualities to find. So
what is the Bar Council saying about all of this which is happening right now in the ecosystem?
Okay, Bar Council has in fact called for RCI or asked for RCI 3 times already.
Okay.
Okay, it started from when Justice Hamid Sultan first said in an international conference in 2018 that he was reprimanded for delivering a dissenting judgment in the Indira Gandhi case in favor of Indira Gandhi.
Right.
So following that,
another landmark case in the country's history.
Exactly. Yes. So Bar Council asked for RCI, and nothing happened for some time. Bar Council asked for a second time.
Okay.
And again nothing happened, and this time after the affidavit has come in, Bar Council has more strongly now asked for RCI.
Right. So just to explain it once again, because we do need to take a 101 approach, what is an RCI, Arun?
It's a Royal Commission of Inquiry, who will have wide powers to go in and investigate. Okay, the trouble is that here the police may not be in a suitable position to investigate judges.
Why would that be so, though?
Naturally, they're just police, and suppose they need to investigate a federal court judge, then it's not going to be really feasible for a police officer to do that, to go and make the inquiries of a federal court judge. I mean, the practical difficulty.
Okay.
So who are the members on an RCI, which would also make them judicious enough to be able to investigate those on that level?
Okay, if an RCI comes in, it needs to be absolutely independent.
Right, first and
foremost. Because if you appoint an RCI without independence, actually it will become a wasted effort. So how do you then ensure independence of RCI?
Yeah.
I would say in the RCI, no retired judges from Malaysia should sit. To make sure it is transparently independent. What we could do is that we could get retired judges from UK to sit in the RCI, partly. Or chairman could be a UK retired judge. And others could be from some members of the bar. And also can be from civil service. So that they got nothing to do with the judiciary itself.
Okay. Now, moving forward, what do you think is the way forward other than setting up an RCI? Let's say an RCI didn't come into place. The Royal Commission of Inquiry doesn't come into place. What's next?
Okay, if a Royal Commission doesn't come into place, the other options will be, literally or in theory, the other options are that judges could be impeached in Parliament. But that will not be something workable, because to take up matter to the Parliament or impeachment, you need a very strong case.
Right.
So here all we need is an investigation. We do not know where or against who there is a strong case. So you need an investigation.
All right. Now, moving in from the affidavit itself into what it speaks of the wider ecosystem. Now, Justice Hamid Sultan has blamed the judiciary for the state of kleptocracy that Malaysia has reached over the Barisan Nasional former regime. Now, in your perspective, can you explain blow by blow how this actually happens, whereby a weak judiciary contributes to corruption in a country?
Yes. Okay. Basically, when you say kleptocracy or corruption, the first party we blame is the government, and we have been doing that against the previous government.
Right.
But how does a government successfully carry on a corrupt practice without the assistance of
Checks and balances.
exactly judiciary? And last time we know, like when cases go up to the courts of involving political nature, it has been hard for the opposition party to get judgments in their favor.
That's right. Now, MACC is also scheduled to meet with Justice Hamid Sultan as well with regards to the affidavit. So what kind of end goal do you see coming out from this?
When MACC meets, I will not know how that will go on. Okay. But again, I have the reservation. Will MACC officers be in a best position to investigate this? Whereas I will say an RCI will be in a best position to
a more informed perspective.
Yes.
Right. And also, in terms of experience, I think, because based on your recommendation earlier on, you said that you have retired UK judges which are totally free from politics here in Malaysia.
Absolutely.
That's right. I think, of course, the ire of the public would be raised if there were to be included members of currently practicing legal people, because that would again bring up the bigger question of, so are they truly independent? Do they don't have any vested interest? So how do you actually go about that in a system which has been impacted quite deeply?
Well, because if you ask, I would say that we have partly from ex-judges from UK, and partly civil service. They have got nothing to do with the judiciary. So only partly could be from lawyers, because lawyers are also aggrieved when we don't have a good judiciary, and we are the ones regularly appearing before the judiciary. So the lawyers also agree, and there will be many lawyers who are independent and whom the Bar Council can identify. So let them do it.
Right. Now, this is a bit technical, frankly, and still quite technical. Let's take it down 2 or 3 notches lower. How would this inquiry, this RCI, affect the man on the street, or you and I on the street? Okay.
The result of the RCI should be that the investigation is made and we identify, or RCI will identify who are the judges who are party to any wrongdoing, and they have to be prosecuted in whichever way. And once we clean the judiciary, this is a process how we clean the judiciary. Once it is clean, the kleptocracy regime cannot come back or will not be there. In other words, the public money will be saved. In fact, Justice Hamid said in his affidavit, contracts are made to siphon out public money, that is government contracts. And courts are the guardians of rule of law, so they have to strike down those contracts. So when you have right judiciary, all these contracts are going to be struck down, and the value of these contracts could be more than 1 MDB funds.
Right. So should I trust, or should we, look at it as, should we trust our current judicial system, even with the new appointed Tommy Thomas in right now? Should we trust the judicial system? Because they are the ones that pass judgments to the people, correct?
That's right.
Now, based on that, though, do you also think that instituting the RCI and carrying out according to best practices will actually restore faith up to a certain degree in the judicial?
I feel definitely so. Once an RCI and actions have been taken, then lawyers, public all will give confidence. Okay, now we have a right judiciary, we can appear and we will get justice. So an independent judiciary.
Who gives the RCI? Who approves for this to happen? Does it come from our Sultan, or does it come from who? Who does it come from?
It has to go through the government.
Okay.
But then who is going to push the government or ask the government to do it? Bar Council has asked for it.
Right.
Justice Hamid has asked for it.
That's right.
Retired judge and eminent judge, Dr. Ishamuri has asked for it. It has not happened. Perhaps Chief Justice could ask for it next.
Right. Now, next, moving on into the leap modulation case, which was referred to by Justice Hamid. So this in particular attracted much attention. Can you explain it from a layman perspective?
Yes. Okay, leap modulation was a case, a dispute between an employer and a contractor.
Right.
Okay.
So in the case, the case went up to Court of Appeal, and in the quorum of 3 judges, Justice Hamid Sultan was sitting. And Justice Hamid Sultan delivered a dissenting judgment as between the parties. That was not an issue. But Justice Hamid Sultan also then made many observations from constitutional perspective as to how a particular arbitration center or an international arbitration center was operating.
I see. Right.
So he made numerous observations, and he opined that laws were made to facilitate the center to charge a statutory toll on Malaysian public. Then he went on to direct MACC and police to investigate. So what happened after that was that the case went up as between the parties to the federal court. Okay, during the federal court time, the center applied to expunge, although not a party, applied to intervene into the action with a view to expunging certain parts of the judgment.
Right. And that is definitely irregular.
I mean, for them to apply to intervene is not irregular. They could apply. But when they apply, at the stage, normally what a court will do is that at that point the court will decide whether to allow the intervention or not. And in that case, the court allowed intervention and went on straight to expunge various parts of the judgment,
right,
including the direction given to MACC and to police.
So basically steamrolling over.
Exactly.
Right. Now, how can we actually ensure that situations like these do not happen? Basically meaning which, when the RCI does come into place, and here's hoping that it does, what methods of data collection and gathering would they be having to institute so that the information they collect is not only usable, but it is actually factual?
Okay, I mean, the first question is how they are going to collect the information. The conventional thought will be that they'll go and make inquiries of the judges.
Okay.
That may not work because judges have a lot of privileges, and then there's so many things. So the best way will be that they will start from lower,
the bottom. The registrars, secretaries, the interpreters.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, what would put these employees of civil service in a position whereby they would feel free enough to actually speak up when they have seen any sort of irregularities occur under their watch?
Okay. One thing, these other than judges, the registrars, secretaries, interpreters, they're all civil servants, unlike judges, and they all come under the chief secretary.
Right.
So I would feel the chief secretary will need to give a direction to all of them to voluntarily go and give information to the RCA or to any investigating authority. And there will not be anything wrong to even give them a reward if you give information.
But would there be a repercussion? Because as you said earlier on, they are civil servants. As civil servants, they are dependent on a salary to work, to eat, to live.
Yes, of course, on the flip side, though, they do not have a privileged access to information.
Exactly, like
they do
the
have
judges.
to disclose it, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, if they know there's something wrong, they cannot actually hold it on. They have to disclose it in the national interest. And I couldn't see anything wrong in a chief secretary giving a direction. They have to disclose whatever they know. Because this is the only way we can clean up.
Moving further then, what are your views of the impact of this judicial crisis and how it's going to play out for all the upcoming 1MDB trials? Yeah, which also the nation is literally at the end of its seat.
Absolutely. Okay, if we want to prosecute 1MDB in an effective way, of course we have effective prosecutors, but we go before the judges on the courts.
Right.
If we don't have a court system that has absolute integrity, how do you expect a right judgment for your cases? So if you want to successfully prosecute the 1MDB or to recover anything, you need a right judiciary.
Related cases.
In all of the related cases, you need a right judiciary. Without judiciary, where are you going to prosecute?
Right.
Very sobering reminder. Yeah, very sobering reminder. Now let's go quickly into, Arun, into your take on the currently proposed extension of up to 70 years of age for existing judges. Do you think this is right? Why is it not right?
Okay, we look at the current scenario, what is happening. There is a lot of judicial crisis.
A lot of push and pull.
Yes, exactly. And we can't say we have a world-class judiciary. So in these circumstances, I think even the question of extension shouldn't arise. With all this crisis.
In fact, we should be looking at, keeping it to a global standard. International standards generally look at 2 years of tenure.
Absolutely. I mean, in the top position, in many institutions, top positions are only for 2 years. Because what will happen is that if you just limit to 2 years, there's no power grid. So you have to live in 2 years.
Well, the current Chief Justice, for example, has also been occupying the position since 2006, which makes it a good decade and counting.
Absolutely. I mean, although not as a Chief Justice, he has been occupying the space as one of the top judges for the last, since 2006, for the last 12 years.
13 years.
Yeah.
13 years.
Yeah.
So when we're looking at all of this, in conclusion, how would you hope that this crisis is resolved? And it has to be through cohesive action. It cannot be something which will actually fix itself or go away.
Yeah.
I would say that the solution will be that we have an absolutely independent RCA.
Still back to RCA.
It still goes back to the RCI,
Yeah.
right. Which I think only helps to emphasize just how critical it will be. And the Bar Council-wise and even individually as a legal professional, Arun, when are you expecting that the news will be announced of the RCI?
Well, in fact, we have been expecting this since Justice Hamid made the first statement in the international conference over the last few months. And in fact, every day we are expecting that. But looking at the pressure now, I believe it should come in at any time. And what is important is that the government now has to be committed to revamp the judiciary. In fact, that was a manifesto of Pakatan Harapan government.
Right. Arun, thank you very much for sharing with us your views. You know what? We will hope to bring you back when there are more latest updates so that you can give us a comment a little bit more about what then if an RCI has been set up or not, right?
Yes, we actually hope to have more comments from you. So on that note, we take a quick commercial break. We'll be back right after. Do stay tuned for the rest of the show.
Masa kalau air dah teruk, kita tak jaga, sudah apa